So, we set a certain line of viabilities so we could manage the event, and made our decision months ago and invited who we were going to invite and who we thought would serve our memberships within Iowa, their interests in hearing from the most credible candidates for president.
That's so if Senator McCain says, "Hey, I'd like to come tomorrow," you'd say no? Or if Senator Hillary says that she'd like to come and talk to you guys, you'd say no?
No, then you didn't understand me. I said we invited them.
Well, if they change their mind, would you say no?
If they, that's hypothetical. We would have a discussion about it, but that would still be someone we invited saying that they were interested in coming.
Do you want to continue this conversation? I can after the news if you'd want, because
if you'd like to,
I would like to, because I think that is a pretty lame explanation, to be honest with you. Back after the news. If events change and you've planned something in the past,
nothing's changed in my view.
Okay.
Nothing's changed in our view.
So as far as Iowans for Tax Relief and Iowa Christian Alliance is concerned, you folks have determined that Congressman Ron Paul doesn't merit the consideration of Iowans at this presidential forum, and nothing that anybody could say can change your mind.
I think what you said is loosely accurate. I think.
Well, what about the margin of error for some of the other candidates? I mean, how does Duncan Hunter and Tommy Thompson, for instance?
Right, it's a line we decided months ago when we extended the invitations.
Okay.
That's where we were, and I think history has proven us out to be accurate.
Okay.
And I think the behavior of people with fringe type of behavior, as the supporters of the congressman, the congressman, if nothing else, should, abhor the kind of behavior that's going on by his supporters.
Okay. All right, Kent, go ahead.
Support it.
And this gentleman is saying that Ron Paul is not a credible candidate. It's nonsense. You take a look at Tom Tancredo. Tom Tancredo, if this gentleman is saying that they decided to include Tom Tancredo months ago, Tom Tancredo was an exploratory committee. He wasn't even an announced candidate.
The simple change in schedule and accommodation of one extra candidate, I'm wondering, how can you deal with the real world?
You have an amazing ability to be very negative. I appreciate it.
This is not negative. This is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer.
You're right. It's an absolute no-brainer, because when and I can be biblical on this, make your yes, and your no, your no. If we start now making our no our yes, then we lose organizational focus on being able to be consistent.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Can I finish and tell you why it's not? What happens if Dr. Mark Klein calls and now he wants to be in because he said he's running for president? What happens if John Cox, who we decided not to include in that first line of people who are invited, says, which he did call yesterday, except they've made no stink about it. They've just accepted the answer. But John Cox himself called me, was an incredible gentleman. The gentleman from the Ron Paul's campaign was yelling at me.
No, he wasn't.
To be honest.
He was not.
Anyway, the truth of the matter is, it's true, and people who know me will know I don't lie. So
they just learned something new.
That's and when Mr. Cox called me, he was a complete and total gentleman. Didn't like the answer I gave him. That was abundantly clear. But he said it in a gentlemanly way and respected where we were headed with.
See, Ed, your organizational purity is legendary. The only point is, you have the goal of your organization is tax relief. And Ron Paul is the number one tax reliever who votes consistently with your record, and you ought to be giving him a purple robe and a limo. This is totally unsolicited advice on my part, Ed. Just relax. Invite the guy. Make everybody's day. I appreciate
your input, but that isn't going to happen.